Today we are going to talk about conditional statement. Give me a second, let me just zoom this in. Oof. And we're going to type it up first on Notepad, then we test it on Visual Studio. Right now it's loading, but that's not the important part. So there are two types of conditional statements. Two types conditional statements. First type is if statements, and just a quick sign up on how conditional statement works. If something is true, the code or the code snippet in the statement will run, but if it's not true, if none of the if statements are true, it will run. So this is how if statements look like. So if statements, if the statement is true, and in between this code snippet something happened. But if this if statement is false, the else will run. And we can say the else should return 0, and it will return 0. But there's something else good about the conditional statements, because if you have more than one conditions, you could just write else if, so which means if this is wrong, the computer is going to run this code, and if this is wrong, it will run an else, and the else should let's say clap hands. That's how if statement works, and that's how it looks. While the second type of if statement is switch statements. And this is how it looks. Switch statement. And how I use switch statements, because I don't want to say something that might be wrong, but how I use switch statements is, so in this should I say parameter? So in between the switch statements statement, if so, that will be a variable usually, and it will say case. So let's say statement equals to, let's go enter, tab, and we say statement equals to 10, right? And just say case 1. That means we're saying that this statement, if it's equals to 1, this code snippet will run, and it would say, let me just say run to save time. And then for every if statement, switch statements, you have to, for every switch statements case, you have to have a break at the end to say, okay, the code has run, so now you will break, right? And then you have, if you do have another statement condition, you just write case 10 or case 2, 12, whatever, and you say run and then break again. And for every switch statement, you have to have a default, and it's literally called default. So in case if none of the cases are right, the default will run. just like an else statement. If none of the if statements are right, the else will run. If none of the cases are right, the default will run. And it would say, let's just say it would say count. Now let me write it right. std count. Let me move this a little bit. std count love. I don't know why I keep writing love. Then break. Like always, you have to put your break, and that's how switch statement works. But speaking about, since we're on the topic about conditional statements, you need to know about conditional logical operators, which will help in your conditional statement. So this logical operator, so what this does is, let's say you write an if statement. If statement equals to 9, and that's what this means, and statement equals to 3, this statement, the if statement will run. But if it's not, maybe you have another else if statement and you say statement equals to 0 and statement equals to 1. Let's just say something is wrong with her. Kids count slow. And right, but if this is not right, it will, then you write an else, like all statements, you write an else, count blah blah blah, stop. That's how that works. Bolts, if you're using this symbol, bolts conditionals have to be right. Statement has to equals 9, and statement also has to equals 3. That's how that works. But, and there's another logical statement, and this one is the OR operator. So I know this looks like 11, but it's not. So on your keyboard, right next to enter, you will find look up is in between backspace and enter. Well, it should be. And then you hold shift and press that key, and this will pop up. Not pop up. This will show when you type it, press the times. Anyway, so what this does is, you would say, for example, this. Let me just go back to this code because I don't feel like writing. What this does is say, if this statement is equals to 9, or statement is equals to 3, this should run. And this is good for just like when let me see if this is done real quick. Alright, so we can test it out. This is good because for when I am asking for user input. So for example, we'll create a variable called, let's just say, name, and we'll say name equals to easy, or name equals to easy. So if you want to, because sometimes user capitalize the first letter, just in case they do, this will run. But if that does not work, like always, it will go to the next if statement and the next, and if none of those work, the else statement will run. So the last logical operator we are going to go through is the not operators. So let's say kids equals to, well, no, not equals to, that's how that will look. If kids are not equals to 5, so basically number of kids, oh, my bad. And is this done so I can show y'all example? Blank app console, no. Console app, print hello world, but empty project. Let's see, provides no starting file. Yep, this is what I'm looking for. Let's just call it project. I'm gonna delete it off after anyways. So wow, that's great. If kids are not equals to 5, this would not work. So then it will go back to else statements, and it would say, let's just say, it will bring ha, and that will work. And you could do the same for switch statements. Just say switch case 1. If it is not 1, well, you do that, but no. Alright, yeah. If it's not 1, this will run. If it's 12 or 13, this will run. And if it is, create one more case 15 and 17, run, and then break, this will run. So yeah, so now you can see logical operations in action. Oh my god, Visual Studio. Alright, so let me just create a source file. Add new item. C++. See. Add. Alright, so let's create the variable. Let's do int 12. No, int me equals to 12, and then we will say, oh my bad, this will be the global scope, which we'll talk about that later. Hashtag include I have a string, using namespace std int main. So let's create a variable called int me and equals it to 12, and another variable called int, no, let's do std string and equals that to 15. No, my bad. Equals that to lost songs. So we're running if statement saying if me equals to 12, no, 11, and I didn't create a variable name for this, love. and love equals to I hate songs. This will run counts you are slow. Else if me equals to 12 or no, let's make this false just to show you the example. Or love equals to I hate songs. Me equals to no, let's make it love. So one will be right. Love songs. Alright, so count I love songs. And let me just put this real quick. Alright. And then we write it as variable and say I am confused. Save the project. Now let's run it and see. And it should print I love songs. It's loading, give it a second. Oh, Jesus. Should not take this long to roll. Alright, so, see, I love songs. Right over there. And the project. So, I'm just going to give you all an example of switch statement because, but it's not going to be like a deep understanding switch statement because I don't mess with switch statements like that. I don't know why. Just switch statements are not for me, you know? Alright, so let's say case 1 count things. No. Count things. Case 2. Okay, I'll just lower the screen. I forgot to put break, which is very, very important. Break. case 2, count, hush, and let me just skip right to case 3 so we're not wasting much time. Case 3, what was the value of me? 12. Count, correct, break, in default, default, count, my way, break, okay. So I'll give an example of how the default will run once I load this. So it's going to build it again. Alright, no errors. It should load. See, correct. It printed it out. Correct. But let's say that we did not want this to run. My bad. 1, 3, 13. And we wanted the default to run, which is my way. It will print out my way. And it printed out my way. So that's it for today. I will see y'all later on the next video, but don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below, and watch some of my videos. Yeah, see y'all later.